good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and we know it's not good night. And here we are again for another episode of HFLE for all the way. So today now, this initiative of the Barbados Association of Guidance Counsellors, we have with us again Miss
Kim Jones, Guidance Counselor of Commonwealth School. Happy to be here. Happy to be a part of this procedure and part of this program.
Great. And next to her, we also have Mr.
Eversley, David Eversley from St. George Secondary, Internship Coordinator, a lot of words, as well as HFLE teacher.
Great. It's so good to have you all with us today. And today, we're going to be looking at a very special thing that a lot of us, if we are not dealing with it right now, it will creep up on us sooner rather than later. Our topic of today is ergonomics, yes, a nice big word, ergonomics when interacting with our devices. In other words, how we sit down, lie down, stand up with our devices that we are online interacting with, how that is going to affect our bodies. So let me start off by asking you all this, and I'm going to throw it out to you too as well. Do we have neck pains? If you have neck pains, raise your hands. Back pains? What about pains in your legs?
I think I'm just going to leave my hand up.
Pains in the feet?
Yes, they're all.
I haven't gone there yet.
All right. What about in the wrist?
Yes.
Okay. What about your eyes?
Oh, definitely.
Yep. And headaches?
Headaches. What about your ears?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, well, you're lucky you're not using too many headphones. And some of us have pains in the waist. All
Yes.
right? Now, all of these, we can contribute in large amounts to the way we are interacting with our devices, especially if we didn't have a lot of these pains and aches and all that before we started using our devices for such a long period of time. All right? So, today we're going to be looking at devices, at how we sit with them, lie with them, how we interact with them, and try to find the best way to deal with them so that we can eliminate some of these pains. And if you don't have them yet, so that we make it so they never start because of your device. We good with that?
We're good with that.
All right. So, starting with the types of devices that we are using. We're getting online with a lot of things, not only desktop computers. I'm going to say one, and I'm going to pass the buck on to let somebody else say one as well. Okay, I'm going to start off. But I gave desktop before, so I'll leave it there. The desktop. Some of us are using the desktop to interact online. What else are we using, Kim?
We're using our Kindles.
Ah, the Kindles. What else, David?
Cell phones.
Cell phones. All right, back at me again. Tablets. Kim?
I'm blank.
David, we'll take it over to you.
Is there anything else?
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, we're missing one. We're missing one.
Laptops?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
The
good
laptop.
grief, yes.
Right. But the laptops, they all come in different sizes.
Yes.
So one of the first things I want to let everyone know is that in the case of looking at screens, size does matter. All right? The bigger the screen, the easier it is to see. The smaller the screen, the harder it may be to see. And then we end up doing a lot of things that we should not be doing. Right? So let's start first with the bigger screen, with the desktop. I find that a lot of people who have desktops that they're working with tend to have issues dealing primarily with their wrists and also with their backs.
Yes.
And who wants to share why their back may be really into the pain from dealing with your desktop computer?
Well, I think one of the big issues there is that people naturally, when they sit, they want to curve. And they want to push forward and look at the screen as hard as they can. By nature, your spine is not supposed to be in a curve. It's supposed to be erect. So that, first of all, starts the problems. And then there's some people who the keyboard is either too high or too low. So some people's wrists can either end up going down, or some people's wrists end up like this as they type, when really and truly your hands should be on the table or at a level that is even with the monitor. That becomes a problem. I don't know how many of us have been ever sitting at a computer and then 10 minutes later when we get up, we feel as if there are pins and needles going all down the back of our spine, and we got to stretch some ways and hope that something pops another way. It's because we're not sitting straight. And that sitting straight also helps to bring your chin up to the level that it should be at, which is the level that the monitor should be at, which means that you are fully aligned for the work that you're doing.
So how could we get the chair to accommodate how we sit properly? What are some of the things we can do with that chair so that we are sitting more erect?
Well, I believe if it's possible, if you have one of those chairs that has the adjustment, the office chair, you should raise it so that your eyes are directly in front of the screen.
Yes.
If that's not possible, you may be able to use, like if you're using a regular chair, maybe you could sit on an old telephone book or cushion just to raise yourself up. I think that would help a lot.
I like the idea of the telephone book and the cushion. Not everyone is as tall as we are,
Yes.
right? But at the same time, a lot of us may end up having to sit for quite a long time, although we should be getting up regularly.
Yes.
Some people are sitting for quite a long time, and having something softer to sit on would help as well. So if you have to use that telephone directory, you could put the cushion on top of that
Yes.
to soften the blow.
But
Right.
Donna, I'm even going to go further than that, because some of us also like to sit with our feet under us as we're in the chair, or we put one foot under the other and we pull that foot in. And that will also affect, one, how comfortable we end up being, two, the pain that we will have later.
Right.
And three, of course, your joints are going to get affected by it. The rule of thumb is your feet should be planted, if you're tall, on the ground. If you are height challenged, something that brings your feet up to a level where everything, again, is almost like an L.
Right.
And it's aligned properly.
Right. I saw somewhere, well, a lot of offices, they have like additional footstools
Yes.
that people can put their feet on. And I've often wondered if that's supposed to be directly under your foot, so you put your feet on and it brings your knees up to, to create that 90-degree angle.
Yes.
There is our math again.
There you go.
Our 90-degree angle. Or if we should put it further away from us so that we have our feet raised, but it's not quite a 90-degree angle, but it's comfortable and your feet are off the ground, not just hanging down. Because some people whose feet are hanging down all the time, the feet tend to get swollen, the ankles get swollen.
Yes.
Even with young people, all right? So it's not just a bunch of us older teachers saying, yeah, we have all these aches and pains. No. A lot of young people are complaining for these things
Absolutely.
too. And it is because it is something that is ongoing. It is not a one-off.
No.
So when you're spending a lot of time in these positions, you will end up getting these aches and pains if you are not careful to take the precautions, right? Another thing that came up with the legs is just where the chair ends, that crease, where your leg is pressed into the chair all of that time. Sometimes that's where needles and pins and some pain originates as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So be wary of that. And a cushion could help alleviate that as well, all right?
Agreed.
I find one other thing with the desktops too is that a lot of people that have desktops, they have them on a table, and you tend to lean a lot more than you may with other devices.
Yes.
So not only do you have the problem of bending over and your spine being arched like this, but your spine is arched like this or like this because you're leaning. And I again, as we're all saying, if you could be as straight as possible when you're looking at the desktop, that would be great. for your posture and for your
Yes.
spine.
And also with the leaning, putting that pressure on your elbow
Yes.
can also create issues where you will either have sometimes numbness from the elbow shooting down towards your fingers,
Yes.
and sometimes just pain. Sometimes the elbow gets a little inflamed because that's not supposed to be taking that much pressure.
No.
So be very wary of those things. Y'all, I bet y'all didn't think we were going to be talking about all of this because of looking at a computer, you know. Because you're accustomed playing your games, aren't you? Laid back, feet up, you know, things in hand. But this is different, very, very different. And when you are sitting with intent to do something looking at a screen, you must take precautions to protect yourself. So that's the desktop. Let's move on now to the laptop, which is a slightly smaller screen in most cases. People tend to have more mobility with that. So some people don't always necessarily sit at a table. All right, they may sit different places because of the laptop, because they can move around with it.
Yes.
So what are some things that we can talk about with that?
I think one of the things that I remember I am seeing now, and I thought it was very interesting, is that they're now having workstations where you don't actually have a chair. There are areas where you can actually stand so that the blood is circulating at all times. Because even before we speak about the laptops, I want to go back to something you said earlier. If you think about when you're traveling on a plane and you are traveling for 5 hours, 6 hours, they usually tell you it is best to get up and walk around and let that blood circulate for a little bit and then go and sit back down. And you should really do that when you're on a computer as well. With a laptop, the easiest thing to do is to put a laptop on your lap. You want to fix the screen how you want to fix it. Put your feet up and do what you have to do. But again, you need to take the breaks. You need to take the breaks. And it's also not good to be having that on your lap at all times. So I would say, if you can, switch it up. Have the laptop on the desk. Let it act as a desktop sometimes. Have it on your lap every once in a while. You can even use it in your bed every once in a while, but that should not be your norm. Your norm is still to sit erect as you can, and place the laptop in an area where your chin is a certain level, your arms are a certain level, your feet are a certain level, and it will counteract, I should say, a lot of the pain that you probably will end up feeling, if not now, later.
Right. Can I jump in there about the laptop being on the lap and also on the bed? Laptops are designed to have air flowing through and they get very hot.
Correct.
And it is dangerous to put a laptop on any surface that is going to stop the air from flowing. And I find that the soft mattresses and even having it maybe just on a carpet does not always allow for flow. And even on your lap, it will get very hot.
That's right.
You do not want your laptop to overheat because anything could happen. And in some cases, things have happened where laptops will short circuit because of the additional heat.
Yes.
So it's always a good idea to have your laptop raised slightly on something or on a surface that allows for air to be able to blow through, especially the sides where the vents are. So you would want to really limit having your laptop on your lap
Absolutely.
and on a bed.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Right. David, what about the portability of laptops? What do you see as being a challenge with that as well?
Well, one thing I would say about the laptops is, again, because we're in this new normal, and if the laptop is your device of choice, you're going to have to be doing that for your classes, for your meetings on a very regular basis. Just bearing in mind what Kim said previously about switching it up. If you have a place that is appropriate or comfortable for you to stand while you have a laptop placed somewhere, another place that's comfortable for you to sit when you're using the laptop, have those places in mind as the designated places. This place is where I'm going to go when I want to stand with the laptop. This is where I'm going to go when I want to sit with the laptop. And if you do that, then it makes it easier for you to avoid the other problems of having it in places where it might overheat or having it in places where you're not going to sit properly and your spine is going to be affected. So again, have designated spaces or designated places that you're going to place the laptop.
Okay, fantastic. And talking about that laptop again, too, you mentioned the screen. People tend to, because of the laptop, they move the screen back or forward so that they can see whatever's on it much better. So then we have problems with our eyes. Okay? The best way to have that screen is in an erect position, again, eye level, so that you can see clearly, and you should be seeing it in good lighting as well. All right? And the keyboard should be in a position where, like Kim has said before, your hands are not like this or like this. They should be like this, more level, okay? So make sure that your keyboard is in a way that you can have your hands level. The other device we're going to look at really, really quickly now is also the tablets, because sometimes the laptops can turn into tablets. We've got laptops that are detachable from the keyboard, especially the ones that have touch screens.
Yes.
All right? It's very, very difficult typing on a touch screen. That gives you all kind of other problems.
Yes. Thumb issues.
A lot of issues, a lot of other issues. Your neck and everything like that. But between the detachable laptop and the tablets, whether it's a Kindle, whether it is one of those thing books, you know, that comes without a keyboard most of the time. It's better if you can get a keyboard that you could attach to it, either via some kind of a covering or via Bluetooth.
Yes.
They do have Bluetooth
Yes.
keyboards.
Yes, yes.
But either way, you still need to make sure that your hands are ergonomically placed so that you do not hurt your wrist, all right, with those things. But some other issues with these tablets, which are almost like smartphones, it's just a bigger smartphone.
Yeah.
Some other issues we were discussing earlier with these would include what, Kim, you were talking about?
One of the things for me that's a big issue is the brightness or lack thereof of the screens. I know that with the Kindle and a lot of the tablets, you can actually put it in what is called read mode. So it takes away the glare, and it's a little more, I guess, a little yellower, so it's not as harsh on the eyes. What I always encourage my students to do who are constantly, they don't even use the tablets, they would be using their cell phones, reduce the brightness of the screen. Because after a while, your eyes will begin to burn and they will begin to hurt. Keep it as low as possible. A lot of the phones, you can actually adjust it that the phone automatically adjusts that brightness for you, which makes life a lot easier. Some tablets do, some tablets don't. But when you are having a meeting, you might want to brighten it. Excuse me, when it is, however, that let's say you're reading notes or studying or something like that, if you can, put it in what is called read mode or go into the settings, into the display and reduce the brightness. Because the brighter it is, it can also hurt your eyes, but it can also contribute to headaches and to neck aches. So that is always my main concern for tablets. The phone screens are so small sometimes, and those letters are so small, and then you're making it so bright. You're giving your eyes an exercise that they never planned to have. And we only have two. So I think that brightness, if you can, please lower it. For those who have the Kindles and the tablets, please go into read mode and save your vision, please.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kim.
And if I may say something, in addition to adjusting in the settings, the brightness and the read-only, also a lot of cell phones now, and I guess some tablets, maybe some laptops, come with blue light filters.
Yes.
And the thing with blue light is that it's very stimulating to the brain. So you don't want to be having that constant stimulation, especially later at night when you then want to sleep and you can't get to sleep. So with my phone, my blue light filter is on for most of the day, and it automatically is in that mode. So every day is for the period of time the blue light filter is on. So I would suggest that as well in terms of something you can go into your settings and make use of.
Now, I've learned something because I've noticed the blue light, but I've never really thought about the blue light filter, right? So thank you for sharing that. Now, I learned something today.
Thank you.
That's very good, very interesting. So check y'all blue lights, right? Right. Now, on the subject of the cell phone, because what we're going to look at now are some actual ways that we can mitigate some of these issues. But anytime you have to plug your ears with earbuds, earphones, or put on a headset, you need to be able to control the volume that's coming to you, to your ears and to your brain, okay? And there are some devices that actually have an automatic volume control, meaning that no matter how loud it is, it will only get to be a certain decibel or a certain sound in your ears. So make sure that that's checked, because again, we are now plugged into these things for in some cases, more than 3-4 hours in a day, steadily, not playing games and not just being distracted by other things, but paying attention and attending at meetings. So make sure that if you have to wear earphones or earbuds, that the volume control is in place so you don't get surprised when somebody else comes on and their volume is a little louder than is necessary. And what happens too is that our brains are always trying to compensate for brightness, for sound, and things like that.
Absolutely.
And you tend to get used to it.
Yes.
But just because you get used to it does not mean it's not destroying the part of the body that it is impacting. All right? So we're going to make sure, and we're going to protect our eyes, our ears, we're going to protect our wrists, we're going to protect our back, our legs, our feet. What else do we have to protect?
Everything.
Yeah.
Right, everything.
Everything.
Our heads, because we have to be wrapping up now, so we have to protect our time. How much time we're spending at a time. I know that a lot of classes and some meetings go on for at least half hour to an hour. That's minimum, but sometimes they go on longer. It's worth your while to be able to get up at least minimum every half hour and move around.
Yes.
Stretch, walk around. Some other people will tell you that you should move every 20 minutes. And the same for your eyes. You may not be able to easily get up at a time, but you can look away. And if you are sitting there someplace where you can look outside a window or look at a picture or something
Absolutely.
other than the computer screen, that is also a way to help with the ergonomics,
Yes.
right? So, last words, David.
With the tablets and the cell phones, I know you're accustomed to having them in your hands, but if possible, wherever possible, see if you can prop it somewhere so that it's not so close to your face and you don't have to be angled to see it.
Thank you. That's a very good tip. Very good tip. Great. So you have those little ring things at the back of the cell phone that you could angle it with, or sometimes something as simple as a holder, sometimes a little cup holder, sometimes a napkin holder could also work. You don't have to go out and buy something new for that, but find a way to prop it up. Thank you, David. I love that. Kim?
Protect your body. You only have 2 knees, 1 back, 2 eyes. You need to preserve them for however long you're here on this earth. Take the necessary precautions to make sure that you protect your body. That is not selfishness, that is self-preservation. Preserve yourself so that you can be a better student and a better individual overall.
Thank you, Kim. And my final word is going to go out not only to the students, but there are lots of parents out there and teachers who are parents and parents who are teachers who are standing over their child or over their charge to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do, to offer some help to them. You need to protect yourself too. Get on the right level. If you are standing hunched over or standing and crouching, all right, that's not the best angle for you to be able to save your body while trying to help your charge on that computer. So take into consideration yourself as well. Protect your neck, protect your back, protect your knees. The same thing that you will do for your student, do for yourself.
Absolutely.
Because you too have to be in a lot of meetings. You too need to stretch, yawn, prod, pull, and make sure that afterwards you are more in control of the impact of these things on your body. So again, we're at that time where I must issue your challenge. And what I want you to do, students out there, parents and teachers, you can help, is to set up your area, whether you're using a laptop, a desktop, a tablet, or a cell phone, and take a picture of you at your study area. And then have someone upload it so we can check it and look and see if you are hitting your angles. You can check the angles as well. See if you're hitting your angles. We do have a little, very little video clip that some of you may have seen already, but it really shows you what your angles should be when you are at your computer or your laptop or desktop doing some work. Let's take a few seconds and have a look at it right now. Now, how was that? Could you identify with some of those things? So when you take your picture of you in your space, you can look at that video and see if you're doing it right. And if you are a little off, then you can have a way of tweaking it here and there so that you won't have the negative impact on your body of all of this time you're now spending in cyberspace. Kim, David, it was a pleasure having you all with us today.
Same
again.
here.
Yep, it was.
And I am sure that your students and my students are out there, and the parents, and some of our teachers really appreciate this particular episode on how to protect themselves through the ergonomics of the interactions of their devices. Mm-hmm. Because why? HFLE is for
All
the way. Bye. Stay safe. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.